so many of the dreams in the film were actually inspired directly or indirectly by either myself or Eric or the crew. We gave everybody dream journals when we started the film. And we asked everybody to write down all their dreams, at least the ones they could remember. Uh, and that acted as a huge source of inspiration and source material for us for the dreams sequences in this film.
I'm Kristen Maldonado from Pop Culture Planet. Thank you, Alex, for your time. And, I just got to say, the movie is incredible. I had so much fun yesterday getting to see it along with you guys. So thank you.
I'm glad you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming.
Of course. Now, I know In Your Dreams was inspired by a specific childhood memory of yours. And I was wondering if you could share that story with us.
When I was about, I think, 6 or 7 years old, I woke up one morning and I found my mom's at the front door of our house, and her bags were packed, and yeah, I didn't know what was going on, and she sort of gently had to explain to me and my brother that she was going away for a little while to sort of figure things out for our family. And when you're a kid, you just don't really understand why these things are happening, and you obviously get, your parents and your family is each your whole world, and so it felt like my world was sort of falling apart. And so I remember watching my mom get into her car and pull out of the driveway, and I remember watching her leave, and all I wanted at that moment was to find a way for her to come back, and um, for my family to stay together and to keep things the way that they were. And that was sort of the impetus for uh, at least the sort of the personal journey that Stevie goes on in this film.
Everything feels bigger when
Yeah.
you're a kid. And I feel like you guys really captured that in the film. This is your feature directorial debut. How did your past experience kind of help you bring this to life and shape it?
I'm so lucky. I've been really fortunate to work with some of the greatest filmmakers in the industry. I worked at Pixar for 10 years. Before that, I worked at Lucasfilm. Um, and while I was at Pixar, I got to work with some of my heroes like Brad Bird and Andrew Stanton and John Lasseter. Um, so I learned so much from them, directly or even indirectly. Um, and I brought all of that to this film. And yeah, I mean, hopefully, the talent that I observed from those great filmmakers hopefully have sort of rubbed off and found their way into In Your Dreams.
And I got to ask about bringing this cast together because it's a pretty incredible cast.
It is,
And I
yeah.
know you mentioned last night that this was Kristen Miliotti's like feature animated film debut.
Yeah, I mean, Kristen, I've been a fan of hers since God, almost from 20 years ago. So The Venture Brothers was the first show that I worked on. It was my first job in animation, and she voiced some characters in that show. And I just remember hearing her performances and just thinking like, this is all one person. Like she has such range. Um, and then she did How I Met Your Mother. She did Once. She did um, Palm Springs and the Black Mirror. And she was even in Wolf of Wall Street. She was DiCaprio's like first wife before he leaves and marries Margot Robbie. But yeah, I was always in such awe of her talent and her just ability as an artist, not just as a performer, as a singer. She's an incredible singer. And because our characters, our parents in this film, they're musicians. They used to have a band together. It was really important to me that both the actors who played mom and dad could sing really well because we have them sing actually in the film an original song. So getting her was a huge win, and then getting Simu was also incredible. I mean, we were so lucky that we cast him before Shang-Chi had come out. He had finished filming it already, but I think Disney had delayed it because of COVID. And So yeah, we cast him before the movie came out, before he became this huge international icon. Um, and he's also an incredible singer. People don't know this, but they'll find out when they watch the film. He's got a great voice. So not only is he super charming and talented and handsome, he can also sing, which is it's just not fair. Some people have it all, you know.
Oh, I love
Um,
that. I didn't realize that they were the ones really singing the original song, so that's incredible.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's how good they are. Like, yeah, the song, the holding on and the let it go, that's them.
I love that. What were some of the bigger creative challenges in bringing, the world of In Your Dreams to life? And were there any sequences that had to like push your team to innovate or experiment or do something a little different?
Yeah, I mean, I would say the biggest challenge of this film was the scope because it takes place, it takes place in two worlds. You have the real world and the dream world. But in the dream world, you have multiple dream worlds, right? So we have Breakfast Town, we have the Ball Pit River, we have that whole nightmare montage, we have the Sandman's Castle. There's just so many different worlds that we meet. And actually, in every single world, every single dream world that we go into, we have two versions of that world. We have the dream version of that world and the nightmare version of that world. So the scope of production was so large and it's just a tremendous amount of work for the team to do to be able to build and design all of these different worlds. So that was probably the biggest challenge.
There's so many relatable elements there too, like the homework, the teeth falling out, like that. I feel like everyone has those dreams. So
Yeah, yeah.
how did you decide what worlds to kind of create there? And like, did anything you've ever dreamed kind of play into that?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, yeah. I mean, the the pop quiz dream is something I've had since I was a kid. The naked dream is like um that whole shot is essentially verbatim the dream that I've had since I was young of being naked in a department store when everybody's looking. I don't know why I have that dream, but um, yeah, I don't know why it's in a department store, but yeah, I always have a naked dream where I'm in a department store. Driving the bus and being out of control is a dream that I've had as a kid. So many of the dreams in the film were actually inspired directly or indirectly by either myself or Eric or the crew. We gave everybody dream journals when we started the film. And we asked everybody to write down all their dreams, at least the ones they could remember. Uh, and that acted as a huge source of inspiration and source material for us for the dreams sequences in this film.
I love that. That's so cool. I mean, those are real. Like the teeth falling out, that's my nightmare all the time. I feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to go brush my teeth again.
I know.
You know?
Do you try to put your teeth back in when they fall out?
No, I'm just like, no, no.
So I have that dream all the time too, and I every time it happens, I try to put my teeth back in, and then it never goes back, and it's just so devastating and tragic and mortifying for me.
Yeah.
They say that it's because it's a stress related dream that when your teeth fall out, you feel like you're losing control.
Even I was thinking when they're holding hands and can fly, like I feel like I often have dreams like that where I'm like running and all of a sudden I can just like
Yeah.
fly through the air. That's so fun.
The flying dream, I wanted to make sure because I've had flying dreams before, but it's not what you think. It's not like you're Superman, right? At least for me, whenever I have flying dreams, it's like you're kind of half out of control, kind of spinning, and you can't really control how you're spinning or how you're flying. Um, so I tried to capture that sense in that sequence in the film.
You pulled some inspiration from some iconic films as well that we all know and love.
Yeah.
And I was wondering if you could tell us a little bit about that, like where you kind of pulled inspiration from.
Oh, I mean, there's so many. I mean, I was a kid of the 80s, so there are a lot of 80s films that have sort of worked their way into my subconscious and psyche and sort of naturally found their way into the film. Um, I mean, Elliot is named after Elliot from E.T. Um, Stevie is named after Stevie Nicks. Um, the Sandman song that we have in the film. Back to the Future, I see the DVD behind you.
Mhm.
Probably my all-time favorite film.
Me too.
Um, and that song, is featured in that movie and it says burned into my psyche. Um, Labyrinth was a big influence for me, and the Sandcastle was very much inspired by by Labyrinth and the maze of the Labyrinth. Um, what else? I mean, Miyazaki and the Ghibli movies, like the soot sprites from Spirited Away are very much an inspiration for the Sandlings in our film. Bedknobs and Broomsticks was a big influence. Um, yeah, there's so many.
I love that. I definitely saw the Labyrinth, which I loved as well. And the Sandlings were so funny. I loved them.
Yeah. Oh, and then Little Nemo and Slumberland was also a big influence. I watched that. I both played the video game on Nintendo and watched the animated movie. It wasn't very good, but at the time I liked it. That was also a huge inspiration.
Oh, awesome. I was wondering if you had a favorite moment or sequence to bring to life in the
I
film.
really enjoyed the anime versions of Stevie and Elliot. I just think it's so fun. Sailor Moon was like a huge influence, um, or a source of inspiration. Um, and yeah, I mean, when I was growing up, I spent the first maybe 15 years of my life in Minnesota in the States, and then I went to high school in Hong Kong. And but I would every year as a kid I would go back to Hong Kong to visit my grandparents. And so I got exposed to Asian animation, particularly Japanese animation and anime from quite a young age because of my roots in Asia. And so being able to work in that influence and even that direct aesthetic style into the film was really satisfying for me. Um, and I just find that sequence just so fun and just joyful. So that's yeah, maybe one of my favorites. The nightmare montage is like really fun, I think. Um, yeah, I don't know. It's hard to pick a favorite, but those are probably some of the ones that stand out to me.
I think you guys did such a great job with that, like bringing in different styles and also like being able to show like the humor and also like the emotional elements. Like one of my favorite sequences was when they showed getting bologna Tony for the first time, and like
Yeah,
he's just like, I made a bologna pocket,
yeah,
like so sweet.
yeah,
I thought it was very cute. I also caught a couple little Easter eggs like the Cuckoo Banana
yeah,
line,
yeah, yeah.
being a little nod to Cuckoo Studios. And I was wondering if there are other little Easter eggs that audiences should keep a lookout for.
Yeah. Well, our company's first production was Go Go Corey Carson. And if you look closely, you'll be able to find some Go Go Corey Carson references and stickers and cameos in the film. Um, I won't tell you where to find them, but they're in there. So that's one of the fun Easter eggs we put in the film.
Oh, that's awesome. I love that. And what do you hope audiences kind of take away by the end of the film?
I mean, I think, the theme of this movie from the get-go was always about create a positive charge for the messiness of reality. Then that life is not perfect. Um, and that's okay. Um, yeah, I started this movie wanting to explore this question of what do you do when your dreams don't come true? Because so many of the films that I grew up with told me that hey, if you want something badly enough, if you're smart enough, if you work hard enough, if you chase after it hard enough, you can make your dreams come true. And sometimes that works out. Life works out that way. But sometimes it doesn't. And what do you do when it doesn't? How do you um, find hope? And how do you move forward in that kind of a situation? Uh, and that's what I tried to sort of explore and answer with this film. And um, yeah, I think that in many ways, what I found is that when life doesn't turn out the way that I want it to or the way that I dream it to, um, it actually ends up being better. And so there's something about the beauty of the messiness of life, the imperfection of life, that is um, that's so powerful and so positive. And that's sort of the takeaway that I want audiences to walk away with.
There is a fun mid-credit scene. We won't say what it is, but would you ever want to revisit this world in a sequel? Is there more that you want to tell?
Yeah, I mean the dream world is so expansive. There's so much, more left to explore. The this film we in earlier versions, it was much longer. We had a lot more material um, that ultimately we had to cut because it didn't service this story that we were telling. But there's still so much juicy, good stuff that would I think audiences would love to see and love to experience. Um, in another in another sequel, or in a sequel or in a prequel or something. So yeah, I think there's a lot of material there for another film. So we'll see if Netflix wants to do it.
Oh, that's awesome. Is there anything you can tease of like what, maybe didn't make it in that you like really loved and would love to expand on?
No, I think I want to keep that a secret. Yeah, so that the audience will be surprised if we end up, if we end up making another one.
All right, I'm crossing my fingers. I'm crossing my fingers. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I'm just so excited for everyone to see this movie.
Oh, yeah. Well, thanks, Kristen. I'm so glad you liked it, and yeah, great talking to you as always.
Consider subscribing if you like this video and get even more entertainment news at popcultureplanet.com. See ya!